So, are mirrorless cameras better than DSLRs? What's up guys, it's the Project Photography back with another video, and today I am coming at you from the San Francisco International Airport because I thought, hey, I have some time to kill, why not make a video, you know? I really want to talk about mirrorless cameras and DSLRs in general because I always hear people saying, you know, oh, mirrorless this, mirrorless that, you know, mirrorless is the future, and I do agree with that statement. Mirrorless is the future, the technology in it is amazing, you know, as we see these systems being built, like we see mainly in Sony, Fuji, Panasonic, Olympus. Those are the main mirrorless markets. And now even the big name companies of photography, Nikon and Canon, are getting into it. And now that we see that mirrorless is the future, I just kind of wanted to say, you know, I don't think mirrorless is better than DSLRs. And here, let me explain why before everyone destroys me in the comment section. I personally don't think mirrorless is better than DSLRs because I totally understand the benefits of mirrorless cameras. You know, without having a mirror, that means less weight in the actual camera body. That means you can input things like sensor stabilization, you can have higher frames per second, you can have more autofocus points because it's using a sensor rather than a separate autofocus motor, and I just see all the benefits of mirrorless. But as technology progresses, things are obviously going to get better. With mirrorless now, we're seeing that people are using them for actual like professional work. Like we see it with the A7 Mark III or the A7R Mark III and the A9 definitely, because you know they have 2 card slots, they have all these capabilities, and people are now switching to mirrorless because, you know, DSLRs are just don't live up to the standards anymore. But what makes a great camera isn't all about specs and tech, because when people compare mirrorless to DSLR, they're always talking about the tech, and in mirrorless they're always talking about how we have new improved technology, you know, we improve this and improve that. And the EVF on a mirrorless camera is honestly one of the best things because you can see the exposure right there, you know. Mirrorless technology has already outtaken the DSLR technology because all the data is all the sensor, you know. All the data that we're seeing lets you transfer information to the actual camera is all in the sensor rather than having different motors and different parts like a DSLR. So we see that the technology in mirrorless has surpassed DSLRs. We understand that, but my thing is, for what makes a great camera isn't necessarily technology. You know, what makes a great camera is also ergonomics, also the lenses, and also the image quality. And we don't see necessarily an improvement of image quality from mirrorless to DSLR. You know, we might see the say medium format with the GFX and maybe the Hasselblad X1D, but we don't see a general improvement of image quality from a mirrorless to a DSLR because to me the Nikon D850 is one of the best cameras on planet Earth. You know, we have 45 megapixels and it uses the entire Nikon lens lineup. And the thing that changed from mirrorless to DSLR or DSLR to mirrorless wasn't necessarily the image quality was improved. It was just the technology that improved. That's the only thing that improved, and that is a big thing. But when you go out and buy a camera, let's say for me, like I have a Sony A7 and a Nikon D600. Both are extremely outdated. The Sony A7 was from 2013. The Nikon D600 was from 2012. These camera bodies might be quote unquote outdated, but they still produce the same great image quality that they always did. That's why people still use Nikon D3s, D90s, you know, Nikon D700 was one of the best cameras of all time. People still use these cameras, you know, and the technology did outpace those cameras and they are outdated quote unquote, but it's like the cameras itself still operate great. It's not like a smartphone where, let's just say if you have an iPhone 5S, it deteriorates a lot over time. And yes, the technology that improved from the iPhone 5S does improve. Phone itself deteriorates over time. And cameras don't do that. That's why people still use these old cameras. I think my main thing is that camera technology is getting better, but the actual image quality, the output of the cameras aren't changing at all. That's why you can still go back to, let's just say, a camera from 2008 and still use it and still produce amazing work. You don't have to absolutely have the best camera or like the newest gen camera because yours still does the same thing. And the improvements from, let's just say, the camera that you have, let's just say if you had a Sony A7R Mark II versus a Sony A7R Mark III, but it improved, but it doesn't mean that your camera's not any good anymore. I just think, to me, a camera is a camera. What's more important than technology is the actual experience of a camera, you know, having the deep ergonomics, having the lenses, and the technology, of course, and the shooting experience. That all creates what makes a great camera. And I think Sony did a great job at this because they have eye detect autofocus. They make shooting a lot easier, but that doesn't mean that shooting with the DSLR is any worse. You know, to me, shooting with the D600 is an incredible experience and an experience that I enjoy a lot. That's why I still use it. That's why, to me, that camera is perfect for me. I think as mirrorless technology progresses, it's obviously going to take over, quote unquote, the DSLR in terms of technology, but I don't think it's necessarily going to kill off the DSLR because first of all, the image quality is still the same on a DSLR. It still produces amazing image quality, so that's not going to change. But what might change is necessarily the technology, because as technology increases or improves, then mirrorless cameras will obviously get better because they benefit from a lot more things off the sensor than maybe a DSLR would. So just remember that what makes a great camera isn't necessarily the technology that's being put inside it. Although that does create a better experience, it helps make the shooting process faster, it doesn't necessarily mean that the camera I'm already using gets any worse. This is obviously all my opinion. You know, what makes a great camera is very subjective to a lot of people. Yeah guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and if you guys agree with me, let me know down in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.